poet, a playwright, a deviser of worlds and universes, and also I'm a musician, and I've worked for the YMCA and done other community work in education. I'm currently the theater coordinator for ASD20 Youth.
Hey, I'm Laura. I'm a poet and a fiction writer, and I am a farmer here in Providence, and I teach poetry and farming, mostly with youth. And we're also friends. So I think if we were starting a meeting, I'd probably think of it like a poetry workshop, which I usually like to start with poetry. Maybe like read a poem out loud that I like or that Vatic likes. And then I think it's really important, especially if you're going to be working in a group over time, to get to know each other first before you start trying to tackle big problems or get into the nitty-gritty of a plan. So I think it'd be good to start with some storytelling, talking about our connections with food in our families, or our connections with the land, because everyone in the room will have come from a different perspective, but we all eat, and we've all got stories about food.
Cool. And I think that what I would like to do in the opening is like blend that the poetry with, like, as I mentioned, like I'm from the camp tradition, so like maybe a song or something like that. Get everybody singing on one accord. Like maybe teach everybody a response song that we can do together, and then maybe as part of an icebreaker, or after you do yours or before, you could do like a game, like an actual physical game. Some things that maybe we can maybe incorporate some of the conversation pieces about the land.
So I guess like once we all know each other, we got to start thinking about what matters to us in terms of planning a proposal for the city and connecting people in the city with farmers and with food using art. And that's really, it's hard to say, kind of like, it's hard for me to think about like how we'll go into that, because it's got to be a collaboration. Like Vatic and I won't be guiding it, we won't be leading it, we'll just be guiding the conversation. But one thing we talked about was inviting outside thinkers to come and join us at the groups, other artists, other farmers along the way, friend Jamal, infuse, as the conversations of our group keep happening, to infuse like as much brain power into the meetings as we can muster.
And I think that it's important to do like field trips or immersion type of experiences, so that we can go and go to a farm, actually feel the soil, dig, and then from doing something like that, immediately afterwards create art. So we would have things so people can paint, people can write poetry, and then through that exploration of that art piece, find out, solve different things and figure out what's going on. So whether it's doing that, or going out to a community that's like a food desert area and feeling it, seeing it, talking to the people out there, how they feel about having to go a certain distance to the grocery store, or figuring out that, and then create art with that to help us solve the problems that we're trying to, right?
Yeah.
So get that basically.
So starting with our senses and our hearts, then art, and then logic.
Right.
That's our
and then use the art that we create to as part of the proposal that we're bringing to the city. So it's our communication tool, right? Like a full communication tool. So what I kind of think of is one of the things we did at the YMCA is we had a multicultural we had a multicultural themes camp, right? And so what the students did over the course of 10 weeks was they created or they studied, did a bunch of research on a country, and then they were able to present that country at the end of the time. And we had like this living museum where you go to one classroom, it'd be like Japan, another classroom, it'd be like, you know, Haiti, you know, and things like that. And so like using that as a tool, and maybe we could have some, like, be able to set up our work and our art, our showcase, as more than just like we're sitting down having a conversation and telling a bunch of numbers and things, but we're also immersing the officials and people in what we did, right? So like we're bringing them to the field with us in a certain way.
Yeah, and bringing them to, cool. I love that idea.